Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I wanted to talk about, well, anything, everything, nothing. I don't know. Didn't have anything in mind, so I figured I'd turn it on, probably do a therapy session. So, yeah, this morning, everything's going well. Woke up about 4:30 this morning and decided that I would get in the shower, do all the preparation stuff for myself. Address some things online with the unemployment, make sure that I get myself qualified, because today is the phone call to qualify myself for unemployment. As I've told you guys in several videos, therapy session videos, that I've been trying to get qualified for unemployment for about maybe 2 months, and they've been sending me out qualifiers, which means from week to week they ask you if you need the money and that kind of thing, and they've allowed me to pile up qualifying weeks of unemployment pay, but they haven't paid me because of some random way they do things, to where they want to talk to you on the phone first. So what I was told when I called someone about a month and a half ago was that it would be 6 months before that phone call would be given to me. So basically, good luck. But luckily enough, I had went through an email channel as well, voicing my concerns, and through that back channel I was able to get the type of response that would put me in a position to have this phone call coming up today. So I'm relieved is the word. Relieved by the fact that the situation can at least come to some conclusion. I will be much more happy when I know for a fact I will get the money that I'm asking for, but most importantly, even if I'm not getting it, at least I'll know what's next, because being in limbo is not that great. So aside from that, everything's been good, man. Everything's been good. Met a friend online. Somebody hit me up. I figured it was a bot, one of those kind of, forex trading bots, or somebody asking me to buy some foot pics or something online. But no, so far so good. She's really nice. Could be a catfish. I'm not looking into nothing. As you guys know, I'm so very much in my own world that I'm not looking to date nobody. But it is kind of nice to have somebody to talk to, somebody who's interested in what I'm sharing. So, I sent her some of the stuff, some of the poetry that I wrote back in the day, and just keeping it light. But the most important thing is through that little chat, I was able to dig back into some of my old poetry, for which I would have never otherwise dug into. And I told you guys probably once before on one of these therapy sessions that I do a lot of art forms. I have playlists and all that stuff. Follow me on Apple Music, BDF, and it's like 500 of them, as you guys know already. And I found over the last 2 months that I like to do visual art as well. So over the last month or so, 2 months, whatever it's been, I've done, I think the last count was like 270 pieces of like doodle art or whatever. Some of them are better than others. Most of it looks like child art, but hey, I'm not a pro. I just use it as a form of expression and a form of therapy for myself. No different than this. And that's one of my art forms as well, as I've discovered. But I've always had the ability to write poetry or put words together and all that stuff. That really comes easy to me. And there was a good portion of my life, around the time my mother had passed away, and a few years after that, where I was spending a lot of free time writing poetry. So it's a lot of stuff in there that I've never read after writing. Stuff that I may have shared with one or two people and then just stored it in my phone. So this gave me an opportunity to kind of rediscover that, and kind of remind myself of my confidence in that art form. So yeah, man, I felt like that conversation and that energy that she provided, or whoever that is on the other end of that thing provided, put me in a position to feel a jolt of energy, I guess you could say, like a jolt of, it's like a rejuvenation, you know what I mean? So I'm 37 years of age. I'm not someone who's going to be looking for love online, and I'm certainly not going to trust that the pictures I see of the person I'm speaking to is that of whom I'm speaking with. If it happens to be that person, great. If it's not, if anything, like I said, for me, it's just nice to have that type of interaction as a man. You know what I mean? Because the way I've been and how I've lived my lifestyle, it hasn't been any of that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I welcome the energy, and it's so far so good. So far, she's nice. That's really all there is to say about that. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, so I guess that's part of it. That was a positive for me. What else? AMC still is AMC. It ain't moving. I ain't gonna lie, that thing ain't moving in a positive direction. But we already know what we're dealing with. We already kind of have our mind made up about what it is that we're doing and what we believe in. I've unfortunately had to do what I've had to do to secure certain funds, but I'm still very much living well below my means as a means of taking care of my shares. And I'm hopeful that unemployment can kind of make it so that I can stop selling shares. But I still have a good portion. I'm still very happy with my position, and that's really all there is to say about it, I guess. So yeah, hopefully when I can fix some things in my life in terms of my finances, I can either add to my position or just maintain it, for which I've been able to do for a whole year. So far, it is what it is. Now, same thing with my other investment, Doggle on Mars. Just add to that with loose change, you know what I mean? Since it's penny stock type stuff, you can just add $1 here, add $1 there. And so that's just how you kind of play that one. But I'm also happy with my position on that. What else, man? Oh, I finally did another playlist. I had stepped away from it for about 2 weeks while I was doing this visual art stuff. I had done no playlist at all, mostly because there wasn't no new music coming out at the end of the year. But we had a few albums come out this past weekend, and I was able to put together something I really like. So I'm finally back at it after a 3.5 week hiatus, almost 3.5 weeks, which may be the second or third longest hiatus I've ever done in regards to that playlist thing since I've started it. So it felt good to be back, and I love what I made. So yeah, that's in regards to that. That was really cool. What else? As I brought my car back, I realized that I ain't used it, and I'm still at peace with the fact that I brought it back, because I wanted it to be my choice for letting it go. But that was a very expensive decision, and since the car is not in motion, I really do feel kind of uncomfortable about the decision in a way. Not as it pertains to my own peace of mind, but as it pertains to just the purpose of what it is I was doing. When you bring your vehicle back and you don't have any plans for it and you still owe money on it, it's just a liability. But I think I was working out of fear and pride for not appreciating how it had been taken from my household against my will, and fear for what life would look like if I weren't able to have a vehicle and suddenly needed to go to work, for which still may be the case, especially since the car itself is going to drain me of so much money. So it was a double-edged sword. It was a damned if I do, damned if I don't. And I just felt like I spent 32 years of my life without having a vehicle. And if I have a chance to have access to a car and the means for which to get it, I should make sure it's in my grasp. But now that the car is back, I've sat in it all of 3 times. And my life doesn't really require me to leave this apartment too much. Of course, most people's don't these days, with everything being as it is. But, my isolation desires, and even more so, the fears of COVID, have made it so that being comfortable in the household is even more so comfortable for someone who otherwise needs it not to be. So the mental health aspect of this situation is very much real, and I've always been open about that. But I'm in this lull, as you can call it, and I'm enjoying the peace of not answering to anyone, or the peace of not adhering to certain realities that must be faced eventually. And it's a situation where my desire to get back out there has not grown. If anything, my dependency to being in the house has grown. So, it's going to take the jaws of life, I'd imagine, to get me back out there. And I'm just very hopeful that a breakthrough can be made for myself, so that either finances can improve or my mindset can improve in regards to what it is that may be needed to get my life back in order. Because right now, I'm just not where I want to be in that way. So, just being completely and utterly open and honest, and at the same time, being real about something that I've had on my mind this morning, which is the consistency of what it is that I'm doing. Segueing into a completely different thought, but consistency. It's the same thing I told my new buddy on the phone here today. Is I woke up this morning thinking about consistency, not necessarily being excited about or being enthralled with success or the numbers, you know, but more so mastering the craft that I'm working on, the various crafts that I'm working on. So that's what I wanted to kind of just put out there. That was the vibe of the morning. Just, I'm not really worried about my numbers, not really worried about how many followers I have necessarily, though I appreciate each and every one of y'all. For me, it's just about getting better at what I do. Because what you don't want to happen is, I heard someone say this. They said something along the lines of, when the success came too quick and they weren't ready, they had the eyes of the world watching them and they weren't at their best. You know what I mean? And by the time they got better, nobody cared anymore because they had labeled them whatever it is they perceived them to be when that success came. And I think for myself, even though I'm good at what I do, there's room for me to get better. And until I get to that level, there's no sense in desiring everybody to be paying attention to what I'm doing while I'm still not at the level that I would want to be remembered for. So that's something I want to think I want to share out there, thoughts that came to me in regards to success. A lot of us are working against the clock. We don't know how much time we have left, etc. A lot of people have specific goals, this, that, and the third. So I can't tell you what's best for you, but for me and for what I'm doing, it's probably best I just continue to remain consistent with what it is I'm trying to master and the various things that I'm trying to work on. I think attention is drawn to greatness. So if you display greatness, you'll get your attention. All that clout chasing stuff, all of that, it leads you down a path where you have to keep that up. No different than a lie begets another lie, begets another lie. A attention-seeking moment requires you to continue to keep the attention of those who would be drawn to such things. And that is a base, that is a demographic that needs its own things. And a lot of people who are looking to clout chase aren't looking to be, to have that particular demographic. They just want any demographic. They just want many people. But for me, I want the right people paying attention to me. You understand what I'm saying? Not just everybody, but the right people. The people who would be able to take from what it is that I'm doing and get the most out of it. Not a bunch of people who can't use what it is that I bring to the table just to put me in a position to have a little more in life. When life is only but for so long. Your art and what you do, that lasts forever. You know, I don't make videos for today's people. I make videos for everybody's people. I don't make poetry for today's people. I make poetry for forever. I make playlists that I think can be played 15, 20 years from now when the music is no longer what you would normally listen to, but it can still provide a specific vibe that only I could create in the way that I did it. So it's like, for me, that's what it's about. Being timeless. You know, the people who would be drawn to what it is that you do may not be here yet. Maybe you are many generations ahead. Many. So whatever it is that you're on may not get a lot of attention today, but leave it there. Leave it there. Leave it there for the people who are going to see it tomorrow. And maybe there'll be a whole generation of people who will derive from what it is you were talking about because they found it at the right time and it was meant for them then. It's hard for us to fathom such things, but the possibilities are there. So just do what you do and don't worry about who all is here, because there's an entirely different set of people who haven't even arrived yet that may be meant for what it is that you bring to the table. So that's what I wanted to say, man. Do it for forever. Yeah, so that's what I got. I'll leave it at that. That's my therapy session, probably number 29 or something like that. I'll be talking about Lakers stuff. Got about an hour before that call is expected, between the hours of 10 and 12. So wish me luck on that. But most importantly, just remember the word message that I put into the video at the end. Make your art for forever. You know, all these different troll stuff, all that stuff, you're going to have to keep those people attention. You're going to have to keep them entertained. And they're not looking for any substance in a lot of cases. They're just looking to be entertained. So I like entertainment to a degree, but I also like substance, and there's balance to be found. So hopefully, who finds what it is that I'm saying is who can best use it. My name is BDF 44. Thank y'all for watching. Nah.